Hello, all Bearcat here, and I played in a Planetary Qualifier this weekend and made top 8 cut. So I am going to be talking about my run, the deck I took, what I would do differently, what I would successes I'm excited about, and yeah. So this is the list. It's pretty standard as far as Jyn Red lists go. The only real differences are probably my sideboard and a couple of decisions. So I had expected a lot of boba going into this event. So main deck one Galen Urso, sideboard one more. This card, I'll talk about this later, but this card like so overperformed all day. There were so many meaningful, even for non-boba decks, things that I could flip, plot out Galen, name a card that they were going to be playing, and it disrupt their entire plan completely. I could see it on their face as soon as I named the card that I named with Galen. So this card was awesome. So glad I put one of these in the main board, one in the sideboard. And then Hona, the same, pretty much. This card's so overperformed. Hits for 5, restores 2. It's basically doing 7 damage worth of stats. It's a crazy card for 4. And a lot of the time, they just hold on to their charge with treason to kill it as soon as it comes down. But if they don't, then you get a huge swing off, and it can be game changing. And then really the sideboard, R3X Arvel are really targeted at credit decks. That they performed exactly as you would expect against credit decks like Lando. I played one Lando, and they were great. A little personal spice was one Planetary Bombardment in the sideboard. That card also overperformed very heavily because you can get the 12 damage off of Rebellious Hammerhead. And I played one hard control matchup that it just did 12 straight to their face because they didn't have any units on the board. And the Hyperspace Disaster was kind of trying to target Boba, and it kind of works, kind of doesn't. But yeah. So round one was against one of my locals, actually, Raf, and he was on Chewbacca Yellow, and I won in two. This matchup went pretty badly for him, unfortunately. I had Nimble Prowess both games and was able to just exhaust his Chewie as soon as he flipped, and it kind of just I also just drew the nuts. I had 3 aggressive negotiations both games, just hit him for a billion. So yeah, this did not go very well for him. It did go very well for me, though. Round two was another one of my locals, a Lando. He's on Lando Data Vault. There's a lot of Lando blues out here, and also a couple different deck building philosophies around Lando, like what aspect do you want to call when you hit the credit ability. I believe that Reagan is on heroic, and that was what I observed. So he was on the heroic package, which has a lot of good stuff. And this was a tough game. Normally into Lando, I expect to just lose game one and then put my Arvels in the sideboard and win game 2 and 3, because Arvel just hoses credit decks. I actually won game 1, and I was like, okay, then this is going to be a lot easier of a win. He drew good stuff. I was just able to persistently put pressure on him the entire game, and eventually just won. I think I only had like 1 aggressive negotiations both games. And even then they didn't do the lethal hit or anything. So, and the Galen was great. I think the first game I named credits, and then the second game I named Liberty, because he had a Liberty out, or yeah, I just hard played the Galen. I had a Rebellious Hammerhead out, and to let my Rebellious Hammerhead hit the base, shut off the abilities on Liberty. That was really good. So another way that this card overperformed at this event. Round three, three, round three, round three Swiss was against Alex. He was a Boba Lake Country player. This was my only loss of the day in Swiss, and I just expected to lose to Boba, so this was no surprise at all. He won in two. Just absolutely, I didn't draw well either, so that compounded how awful this matchup is for me. I tried to get a Hona down both games. It didn't work. He had Charge with Treason. That restore can really help in this matchup, but yeah, so very strong player. Ended up he made top eight as well. Went one round farther than I did, so yeah, very good player. Round four of Swiss was against an Aura Singh red hard control deck. This deck's kind of whole thing was get credits so that they could play the board wipe earlier. It didn't really work that well for them. They did win the middle game, but Planetary Bombardment, again, overperformed to the max in this matchup. I drew it early, both post-board games, and just held on to it till they didn't have any units and hit them with a ton straight to their base. So yeah, I did. Generally, Jyn into this matchup doesn't really care because they kill your unit. You just 2-for-1 them by drawing a card, and so it's just one of those things where I didn't feel bad into this matchup at all, and it turned out exactly as I expected. Round five of Swiss was against a Piet blue list. Really their thing was just flip and play Cantwell Arrestor Cruiser, or the other Lawbringer, the 7-drop. First game, I didn't get an impactful Galen out. They had shown me that they had a Cantwell in the first game from a Condemn, and so I flipped and named Cantwell, and then they just played a Lawbringer anyway, and kind of destroyed my board that way. But games 2 and 3, I got to flip and name Lawbringer, and that really shut down his strategy. So I felt pretty good into this matchup. This guy ended up making top 8 as well, so very good player. Round 6 of Swiss was, I cannot remember this gentleman's first name, but another Boba Lake Country. He seemed to think so there were some X1s in the bracket. I was above him in the standings, and he seemed to think that an ID was more advantageous for him than it was for me. So he offered me an ID, and I just took it because I didn't want to play this matchup against Boba. And if I lost, I may have barely made it out of top 8. And so I don't normally take IDs, but I was like, fine, sure, let's just do that. So, and this guy ended up winning the whole event. So it's probably good that I didn't play him here. And then the quarterfinal was against Alex, the same guy as earlier. These were over pretty quick. I did flip with Galen, naming Topple, and then he just had Senta both games anyway, so my Galen didn't do anything. And I also was forced to mulligan both games and turn one into the Y-Wing that does indirect damage, which is not the turn one you want to see in this matchup. At least against this player. And so it didn't go well. But hey, I was just excited to make top 8. So I was happy to be here. Alex was a super fun player to play with, so I was not unhappy about that at all. And some overperformers. So I already talked about most of these, but the Galens, I kind of just teched them in for Boba. But this card, man, like, the versatility of it, just getting to name whatever their card is that they're wanting to play, or credits, or, you can name aggressive negotiations in the mirror. You can name, any number of things. This card so overperformed. And even with it being a one of, this deck draws so many cards that you can see it in game one pretty reliably if you need to. So Planetary also overperformed. I think every time I played it, it just did damage straight to their face. So this card was great. I did originally have two in the sideboard, but I cut it down to one just because I wasn't playing against a bunch of control on Karabast. So that's why that decision. Nimble Prowess is just crazy. For one, this card is so strong. The Chewy, it basically won me the matchup because I had the Nimble Prowess as soon as he flipped both games. Excuse me. Literally all day long, this card's so overperformed, and putting it on like a Senta to exhaust a unit of theirs and get a 4/6 Sentinel is pretty crazy. And then Hona, I already talked about this, but we're kind of in a base race format right now. Everyone's just swinging into your face and hoping they get there faster than you. And so this restore, and from like Sabine's Masterpiece as well, was kind of huge throughout the day. And some final thoughts. I don't think Boba needs to be banned. But something has got to go, probably Topple. And a million people have said this opinion, so I'm not going to spend super long on this, but this card interaction is so unfun. It's just Boba flips and wipes your board and then gets a massive unit, and it's like nearly impossible to play around. Even if you have Galens in your deck, sometimes you either don't draw them or you draw them and then they just flip and play Senta anyway from the resource row, and it's just, yeah, it's this deck's worst interaction and a very unfun play pattern in my opinion. But outside of that, I was very happy with all the decks that I saw at this event. There were, Colonel Ularans and the Piets, and there was Talzin Yellow and Avar Chris, which is a personal favorite of mine. There was an Avar Blue deck, and there was some other flavors of Boba, like Boba Yellow and Boba Blue. There was hard control. There was a Dedra. There was a Aura Singh. Like, it was a very diverse field, and so it was really fun. And kind of my mindset going into this was to beat everyone but Boba, and that's pretty much what happened. So luck was on my side a little bit for not running into more Bobas in the Swiss, because some of my, not team members, but friends from my LGS that went, they just played Boba and Obi-Wans all day, like 4 Bobas and 4 Obi-Wans. Or however many, and it just, yeah, so I'm glad that didn't happen. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm really excited with how my deck did, and really happy to get top 8 this weekend. So I got one of those super cool top 8 Chewbacca's, and yeah, so that's it for me yapping, and I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you.